Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Such a pleasure as always to be here with you guys every Monday so far this year. I'm actually quite proud of myself for this. Every Monday this year, I have come on around about this time to talk you through stuff that will enable you to thrive, to prosper, to make at least six figures in your life's purpose if you're actually willing. And that's the key here. Are you willing to do what it takes to thrive and to prosper and to make at least six figures in your life's purpose? Doing things that you feel like you really want to do, being in a business. Because to me, okay, truth be told, I believe that business enables you to take the limits off your income. Okay, that's not to say that you can't have a great income in a job or a career that somebody else is paying you for, because ultimately, in the end, the exchange of money is from one person to the next, isn't it? Really. So I'm not saying that it's impossible. However, I have a particular soft spot for people like myself, entrepreneurial people, ambitious spiritual people who want their own thing out there. You want to transform lives. You want to get paid for the skills, the knowledge, the wisdom that is within you. I love to support you in doing exactly what I've done. Get yourself out of a career into living life on your terms. Okay. So where was I going with this? Yes, I'm proud of myself for doing this every single week. Giving you guys the opportunity to learn things that will transform your life if you allow it. If you allow it. And that's the thing. This masterclass, ultimately, it is for the ambitious spiritual person who is determined, absolutely determined to live in your purpose, to fulfill the call upon your life, to be who you know you're meant and called and born and everything to be, who despite your fears and despite your worries as to whether this is going to work or not going to work, you have put yourself out there, or at the very least, you're very willing right now to put yourself out there and start transforming lives with what is inside of you, and also asking to be paid in order to do so. It isn't everybody that is like us, okay? A lot of people, I was even saying this to somebody I spoke to earlier today, there are lots of people want lots of things. They want and 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 they want. But there's one thing, it's one thing to want something. It's a completely other thing to actually do what it takes to bring it to life. And spiritual people, unfortunately, there's a tendency to think that if it doesn't come to you on a platter with angels singing and signs, all the 222s and the 111s, 1111s and the 5555s or whatever, all the signs and the wonders, if it doesn't come with all those magic bullets, then, oh my goodness, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing that. And it's a nonsense of a nonsense of a nonsense. And yet we get caught up in the nonsense of the nonsense. But I'm not speaking to those that are wanting to be caught up in nonsense. I'm speaking to those who know that there is more to you, that you are born for more, that you are willing right now to put down confusion, to put down overthinking, overanalysis, and to take up determination, to take up a quiet determination that this is the time for you to prosper. Hola, Kathy, how are you doing, my love? That you are going to be the action taker rather than the one who thinks and wishes and prays, that you will be the one that makes the dent on the planet. I mean, as it is, the people I'm speaking to, you already are powerful, okay? You've already made something of a dent. But the question is, will you allow yourself to make a dent doing what you are called, born, meant to do? Because that's a whole different kettle of fish here. A whole different kettle of fish. I was a pharmacist, for goodness sake. I was, in the eyes of the world, in some ways I had found success and all of this. But I knew that wasn't actually what I was called to do. So stepping into what I was called to do took courage. It took hitting rock bottom. And in hitting rock bottom, waking up and finally realizing it's on me. It's on me to decide. Will I live the life that I'm meant to live? the life that I'm created to live. I say to my clients, and I've been saying this recently, that the desires in your heart, it's not a mistake that they're there. The desires you carry, it's like the divine had a desire, and you are the result of that desire. He, they, she. At the moment, I'm going gender neutral for the divine. They had this desire to manifest, and in choosing to manifest, in speaking it into being, you were created. You were created as the vessel, as the vehicle through which that desire would be manifest. You will always have choice. The divine will not force you to live to the fullness of your potential, but there will always be that desire inside of you to fulfill that potential, because it is what you were created for. There is no mistake about you. There's no mistake about you being here on this planet at this time with that specific desire. So there's no need to keep waiting for another sign from the divine for, okay, what should I do? What should I not do? Your desires are your guidance. That desire inside of you is exactly what you're supposed to be bringing to life if you dare. To me, this physical reality is it's like our playground. We get to create things that we desire to create. We get to create as big or as small a life as we desire. And yeah, you can use the divine as an excuse for not doing this, and your family or your this person or your time or your money or lack of money or whatever as your reason for not actually living up to the fullness of your potential. But you deep down inside will always know that it's not true. That the choice has always been yours. And I do understand what it's like. After all, I did go through a phase myself where I felt as though I didn't have a choice in the matter. I had to go along with the programming, go along with what seemed to be the most reasonable, sensible thing to do. And in fact, I felt quite proud of my reasonability, of my common sense in putting down my vision, telling myself that I would finally do it at some point in the future. Even when I started in property, I was proud of choosing a sensible business idea. Even though it literally felt like stepping from one frying pan into another frying pan. Basically, instead of getting onto my purpose path, I just chose another reasonable sounding business idea. But you can make it successful. I made it successful. I made it work. But it wasn't until a coach said to me, Rosemary, what do you actually desire to do? That I finally started finding the courage to step into my true design place in life. I'm not going to pretend it's been the easiest thing on the planet. It hasn't. Even just getting clarity, for some of y'all, you know how hard it can sometimes be to get clarity around what you want, because you're so used to denying yourself what you desire that when you come to really try and get clear on what it is you want, it's so mixed up with, yeah, but does that make sense though? Is it practical? Can I actually do that? And there's all of those noises going on inside of you. So yes, you're telling yourself, I'm trying to do what I want, but you can't distill it out. And it feels so hard to distill out, what do I freaking want? But it's not impossible. It's just that you're so in the habit of listening to all the ideas around you, of paying attention to the physical reality so much that you stop paying attention to yourself. But now it's time to come back home to you. You're feeling the call inside of you. You're getting older. Come on. Time is flying. You know how it is. When I was a teenager, like my daughters are right now, it seemed to take 2 years for 1 week to go by. Now it seems to take 1 week for 2 years to go by. Basically, it's like time. Hey, you're in Costa Rica. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Clarity. View. Yes. Clarity can be one of those, it can almost feel like a jewel that is so hard to find. You have to dig for clarity. But it's actually within you. It's all within you. And as I was saying, time is ticking away. Will you allow yourself to say yes to the real you? Or will you keep floundering around, trying this and trying that, and trying to be all things to all people, trying to seem sensible, because the thing that you feel that you really want to do seems so not sensible to your sensible mind, and so you keep denying yourself. But are you done with that? Are you done with that? What we're talking about today is 10x in your profits. So this is, in some ways, I suppose it's for people who have at least put their stake in the ground and said, you know what, I am getting a business off the ground. Now let's see about what's going on here that will stop you from 10xing the money that is coming from that desire to place your stake in the ground and actually see it manifest something. For some of y'all, if confusion is the thing that is stopping you from placing your stake in the ground, then let's have a prophetic intuitive mentoring session. Let me help you get clear. Now, I'll say this right now. You may not like because I always know with most, in fact, with everyone, you already know what you really want. The problem is that you keep saying, no, it's not possible. I'm not sure I can do it, blah, blah, blah. And so it gets all mixed up. But I can help you distill out that. Now, as I said, because for most people, the reason why you're not clear is simply because you keep saying, oh, I'm not sure, no. So even when I tell you, even when I help you realize that the thing you've kind of known is the truth in one of these prophetic intuitive sessions, you may still flounder if you do not surrender to your desire. But listen, if you are done with this floundering, if you are done with faffing around and floundering, let's have a session, just you and me, one-on-one. If you're on Instagram, it's in my bio. So it's called the Prophetic Intuitive Mentoring Session. If you're on Facebook, the link is around this video, or YouTube or whatever. The link is around the video. Let's have a one-to-one session, okay? Let's get you that clarity. However, if you've put your stake in the ground and you're ready to move forward, then let's talk about what could be keeping you from 10xing your profits or making the money you would like to make. Because I was saying, I said this is kind of like for people who are making something like $500 to $2,000 to move it to $5,000 to $20,000 a month, because it's possible. How can you do that? Let's look at some or more to the point. Yeah, let's look at the things that are keeping you, because business itself, the things that are keeping you from doing this, because business itself is not that complicated. It's not. The complication comes from, oh, I'm too confused. I just can't come up with an idea of something to do. And some of the things that we're going to talk about today. But business growth itself, it is quite simple. It's quite straightforward, and it can be swift. It can be swift. All you need to do really is have a target audience, as in decide on who you're serving. This is an area that people express lots of confusion around sometimes. Having a problem or a solution that the one problem, one solution, or one well-paid product, or one well-priced product or service that you are offering. So package it up, price it. That's it. Okay? So you have an audience, you have the problem that you're solving for them or the solution you're offering, you have a package to deliver that service or product, and you have a price on that, a good price on it. Then, once you have that, what you need to do is communicate, capture, and close. So communicate so people become aware of you, especially if you're using the online space. In fact, it doesn't matter where you are, whether it's online or offline, people need to know you exist. So you need to be communicating, whether it's with your body, whether it's with doing speaking engagements, whether it's doing things like this online, whether it's going into groups, where it's going onto different social media platforms so that you are where people are hanging out. You need to be communicating what you're about so that people know you exist. And then you need to capture some of those people. Some of those people you use maybe a free giveaway or something to get their contact details so they can stick it in your customer follow-up thing, okay? And then ultimately you're inviting those people to take the next step with you, okay? Whether it's via personal conversations, whether it's via emails, whatever it is, you're inviting people to take the next step with you. And then you just do this stuff consistently. So you have your audience, package, so communicate, capture, close consistently. That will grow your business. That will grow your business. Yeah, you'll have to test and tweak a few things, but that will grow your business. The problems come when we as human beings decide that no, it's not going to be that simple. Let's do everything as complicated as possible. And then we make some mistakes that I made. Number one mistake that I'm going to talk about today is the lack of focus. Focus, some people have put down to mean follow one course until successful. People don't do that. Now, when I became, and for most of y'all, when you became, in fact, let's see this. People go to college sometimes and learn there's some people that go to college like I did. I learned pharmacy. That was my one course. I knew when I came out of university, I was going to become a pharmacist. There was no question, there was no nothing. So at a certain time, as I did what I was meant to do, I became a pharmacist. I was even thinking about how the person in my year that came out with a third class degree and the people that came out with first class degrees, we all in the end ended up being pharmacists. It didn't matter what kind of degree you came out with. We had one focus and we went through and finished. Now, there are some people that go through university and choose vague degrees, and suddenly they come out of university and they don't really still know what they're doing. And so they end up doing all kinds of different things, hoping to find their path because they didn't really follow one course until successful. The same thing happens in business, where people start with one thing, but they get this other idea and they try that too, and then they try a few things. Some people do it because they're afraid that if they stick with one thing, that one thing will not work. So let's try 5 things at once and see which one works, and then we'll keep going with that one. Except there's not 5 of you. You only have 24 hours a day. If you try to start 5 businesses or 5 ideas at the same time, the chances are that all 5 will fail. Really. Yes, I know you can look at people like, I don't know what, Mr. Branson or whoever that you might admire and say, well, they have 400 companies and they have this. They did not start with 400 companies. They started with 1. They made that 1 successful, took the funds from that, got people continuing to help them, support them building that one, and then started building other things. They took the experience of building 1 company and then started building other things. Most people haven't built 1 successful company. You're trying to build 20 at the same time, hoping that one of them will take off. But it doesn't work that way. You're not giving anything enough energy for it to work. So none of them work. And also, at the back of your brain is this concept that I don't know that this is going to work, so let's try all of these different ones. Guess which one is going to work? Fear will work. The fear that you're trying to avoid, which is the fear of failure, is likely to be the thing that you're giving most attention to. And so guess what happens? You fail. Because you've given lots of energy to failure. That's actually what you're doing. And there's no focus. There's no focus. There's no focus. And so nothing is getting enough energy. And so nothing works. And if you've been in business for any length of time, there might be that shame in the background, regret that you've wasted so much time and it's not worked yet and you're not sure if it's ever going to work for you and blah, blah, blah. And all of that stuff is getting your attention over building your freaking business. Enough. We must focus on one course until successful. Okay? Next mistake people tend to make is having no simple strategy. So as I said, one product, you can use one platform. You don't need to be on every single social media platform on the planet. You can have one ideal client that you are focused on when you're creating your content and everything. You're like speaking to this one person that you see in your mind's eye, okay? Until you reach a clearly defined financial target. So it's like your first 5K month or something. Until you get there, you don't keep changing things. You don't keep changing things. I mean, in some ways, some of these things that I'm saying are repetition of the same thing because I'm trying to get it through to you in so many different ways. You don't keep changing things until you reach a certain income level, okay? And then maybe you can reinvest the money and start expanding. But again, until you get to a point where it's consistently money coming through, don't be changing things all the time. Reinvest it, bring it in, reinvest, get it to a really solid place before you start thinking about business number 2 or something. And if you can't explain your business in 1 to 2 simple sentences, then it's complicated. It's unnecessarily complicated. As I said, business growth itself is not meant to be complicated. If you can't explain your business, if someone asks you what you're doing and you can't explain it in like 1 or 2 sentences, honey, you've already made it way too complicated. Okay? The chances are that 80% of what you're doing is not in any way adding anything to the mix, and you'll probably spend most of your time on that 80% that isn't helping. Again, focus. Focus. Focus, my loves. People get bored. And mistake number 3 is that people get bored. Okay? I used to be that person, and I can still be that person. I get bored with doing the same thing over and over again. Okay? But the truth of the matter is, again, business is not actually supposed to be some super exciting something, okay? Growing your business is not supposed to be some super exciting something. It should be in some ways boring. The same consistent strategy performed over a period of time, repeatedly. The exciting bit is the people you get to work with, the things you get to do with the money. The life you get to live as a result of having a boring business that is consistently bringing in the money, that is consistently expanding because you're doing consistent things over and over again. But all this keep changing your mind, or you see somebody else doing some exciting thing over there, and then you break everything in order to go and do that exciting thing over there, and then you do some other exciting thing over there, some other exciting thing over there, some other... And then you're like changing all the time because you're trying to keep things exciting because this is my purpose work, man. And I'm going to, and I need to feel excited in my way. No, you need to feel excited with the work you're doing with people, not with the business itself. You are not actually, for most of us ambitious spiritual people, you are not actually a marketer. You are, running a business, you have to become something of a marketer, but that's not our first thing. Our first thing is that we want to transform people's lives, right? Okay? So it's the people that are exciting to us. Your business should just be the same thing you're doing all the time. I say to clients all the time, daily musts. Are you doing your daily musts? I don't care whether it rain or shine or sick or not sick. There's certain things that need to just be done on a daily basis, and automate them as soon as you can, absolutely, or or delegate as soon as you can. But there are certain things that must be done on a daily basis, regardless of what you are doing, or regardless of how you're feeling, or regardless of anything. Those things need to be done. Is that happening in your business? If people, sometimes when people start in business, this is because, you listen to stuff on the internet and listen to people talking about their businesses, their 7-figure business and their 8-figure business and how they do life on their own terms. But it's like you hear the highlights. You don't see the everyday simplicity, the everyday doing the same thing. And so you get enamored with this dream life. You forget that to build this dream life, there is consistent boring things happening in the background continually. Okay? And sometimes we live, as spiritual people, there's a tendency to live in this la-la land of miracles and manifestation this and manifestation that. And I'm not saying these things are unreal. They are real, but sometimes we go off and say, the truth of the matter is that money, consistent cash flow in a business takes consistent, boring action. That's it. Okay? So people manifest this and miracles and signs and wonders. Great. Those happen. But if you want consistent cash flow, then you don't, there are practical daily things that just need to be done. Just do them. Or delegate so somebody's doing them or something is doing them. These days there's tools that can be used. They just need to be done. So that then you can do all the magic and miracles and all of that stuff. That's like a bonus rather than this is what I'm basing my life on. Come on now. They're very real, RK miracles. Absolutely they are. I agree. They are oh so real. But I've hardly ever, in fact, I've never seen anyone build actual consistent cash flow or consistently growing cash flow on just miracles. Miracles are real, and I've had miracles. I have money just coming from anywhere and finding money here, there, and everywhere. All of that stuff happens, absolutely. And yet I know if I want to consistently, even if it's that the miracle money is then invested in something that then brings in consistent cash flow, That has to happen. There is a practical element because we are divine beings having a human experience. So yes, there is miracles, and then there are miracles that are based on consistent action as well. Okay? So, yes. So what is your strategy? Is there a strategy you're following, or is there just kind of a hope and a dream and a wish and a want and a hope that somehow the divine is going to just miraculously throw money on your head? It absolutely can happen. Absolutely can. I find again that usually that is just your needs being met. But do we want to move into abundance? If we do, there's a certain amount of consistency that needs to happen to go from just about getting by to having more than enough. Okay? So have a look through what's happening in your life there. Mistake number 4. What is your true priority? Okay. What I see happening with business owners, spiritual or not, is sometimes the priority is to be liked by everyone. Okay? So the question I'm asking is it people pleasing or is it people serving? Do you want to transform lives, or do you just want to make everybody happy around you? Now, I'm not saying we should go out of our way to make everybody sad. But I am, however, saying, what is your focus? Is it on transforming lives? Because sometimes tough love is required. Okay? Are you still trying to prove something about yourself, or are you building a profitable, useful business? Are you still trying to feel worthy, or again, are you seeking to transform lives and build a profitable, useful business? Are you trying to look good to people who are probably not even living their own visions? And are you then trying to just blend into the average person? Or again, are you seeking to transform lives and build a profitable, useful business? Because the actions you take based on whether you're people pleasing or people serving will be different. Sometimes they look the same, but the energy that you carry behind each action will also determine what result you get out of the action you're taking. So you need to ask yourself, what is my true priority? Is it just to make sure people like me, or people look up to me, or people think I'm amazing, or let the business prove my worth? So because the business is successful, then that must mean the divine thinks I'm worthy. If the business is not so successful, it must mean the divine doesn't really think I'm worthy, or maybe I should find another idea. So we start jumping around again. What is the true priority here? Okay? Really look at that. Maybe your greatest fear is that you're going to fail in front of people and be laughed at or mocked. And most people, when I ask this question, will always say, of course I don't care what people think about me. Really checking with yourself. It can be so subtle. This desire or this need to prove yourself. So you might not be doing it because you want people to like you, but you want to prove something. Maybe somebody once said you were not worthy of something, or you were not good enough for something, and you want to prove to them that, watch me, I am worthy, I could do it. You thought I couldn't? Well, watch me do it. Yeah. Is that your priority? Is that your priority? Because that is still a version of people pleasing. Okay? There's a certain satisfaction that comes from defying all the odds. Absolutely, I get that. But that cannot be the thing that drives you all the time. It can't be the thing that drives you all the time, because some of the actions you take or don't take will get in the way of your business growth. If you're worried about what people are thinking of you, like when I started my business first, I was scared of putting anything on social media because I was scared of my people or my friends would think, or my family would think, or blah, 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 blah. I had to finally get to the point of, I cannot care about that. I cannot care about that. I cannot care about that. I can't. It's like the way I looked or something like that. It's like being so worried about that. It's like, no, I can't care about any of that. Because if I overthink about how I look or how I should look when I do videos or then I probably won't do anything, because I'm trying to get everything perfect. And for who? In the end, it was just like, you know what? What is most important? I know I'm not called to everybody. Everybody isn't going to like me, and that's okay. Me and the divine are enough. The divine is my source, and the divine loves me unconditionally. So from that foundation, it doesn't matter so much what anybody thinks about me. It doesn't mean I'm going out of my way to make everybody hate me, but I'm not going out of my way to make everybody like me either. Okay? I'm simply doing what I feel called to do. I am fulfilling the vision in my heart, regardless of what people may think, say, do, whatever. I ain't called to everyone, and that's okay. You need to be able to say that too. And sometimes that takes practice. And sometimes it is so subtle that you are pleasing people. As I said, most people would say, I'm not a people pleaser, I don't care about such things. Most people do care about such things. You've just cloaked it under some other, oh yes, I have to appear professional in public, or I have to this, or I have to that. And it can all seem so common sense until you really look at, why am I doing this? And then you realize it has nothing to do with the growth of your business or the service of people. It's literally to manage what people think about you or how you are coming across to people. That is not the goal of your business. That will be a mistake that keep you from growing your business. Okay? The other thing is, another one is building from the bottom up. A lot of spiritual people, you don't want to charge that much. And so you end up trying to sell really, really low-end stuff, which is fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with low-end stuff. If you have a strategy in place to reach lots of people. In order for your low-end stuff to work, you need to have a lot of resources to reach a lot of people. If not, I would suggest to you that your best bet is to start with a higher kind of end price. And then as money is coming into your business, you can then start to think about how you can reach a bigger number of people because you have the money to advertise or to pay your way onto somebody's podcast or whatever. So we have to reason, because sometimes because we're spiritual, there's a tendency to leave, I'm not completely for common sense all the time, but sometimes, so that we have to know, when is it right that I use the brain the divine gave me, and when is it right for me to walk in faith? Well, it's always right to walk in faith, but sometimes that faith walk also includes use your brain. You need money to reach lots of people. Yes. We are going to work with our energy, and we're going to be drawing in people and attracting them and all of that stuff using, internal spiritual principles. Absolutely. And we also have to play our part in the practical things. And so it's a balance. It's a balance. It's like a lot of people like, oh, well, I'm called to lots and lots of people. But then I ask them what they're doing to reach these lots of people. Oh, I'm just praying about it, or I'm just affirming it. And I know that the miracle is coming through. And then it becomes them using it as a form of, well, if the divine is for me, then it will work. And if it's not for me, then it won't work. And then it becomes the divine's fault that you're not doing the practical things to grow a business. And, and it's just kind of crazy. We have to blend being divine with being practical. Being divine and human. We have to blend these together. And there's no one size fits all kind of answer, but there are certain things like, are you paying enough advertising, or are you doing enough to get in front of more people, instead of just sitting around hoping that what you're going to do, one post that is going to go viral because you are spiritual, and so therefore, So coming back to this particular mistake here, this is what happens when people start trying to sell $5 this and $3 the other and $7 that. You can do that later on in your business, but if you haven't got to that first 5 to 10K, don't know. Start with a higher endy kind of pricing thing, so that you're bringing money into the business. Then you can reinvest it in reaching more people. Okay. And it's not about being greedy, and because I know people get, I don't want to charge lots because people will think I'm just about the money. Again, then we're back to the mistake I mentioned before. Are you people pleasing, or are you people serving? You really need to see the difference, because sometimes even your price is you trying to please people, so people don't think you're just about the money. Again, you're trying to manage what people think of you, instead of, I want to transform lives and I want a profitable, useful business. So again, build from this mistake here is stop building from the bottom up, build from the top down. Build from the top down, so you're bringing money into the business, reinvesting that money. Okay? Next, instant gratification. Sometimes you get driven by this desperation to make everything work. And honey, the first few years of my business, it was desperation driving me all the time. And there's a place for desperation sometimes. Sometimes the people who have to make it work do make it work. Whereas those that have second, if you have another job or you have a partner taking care of things, they're less likely to make their business work. Absolutely. So there's a certain place for this has to work. But then there's a certain kind of desperation that comes from some of the stuff that I've talked about here, which is usually people pleasing. You're worried about what people think about you if you don't succeed fast enough. And so from that place, you start taking silly actions, hoping that you will get that instant gratification that will make you feel like your business is working and make you feel as if you're on the right track and the divine is for you and all of that stuff. Instead of recognizing the divine has always been for you. Okay. The divine has always been for you. Whatever it is that you chose to do, the divine is always for you. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to jump through hoops to prove that. And you don't need to jump through hoops for people. So if you're coming from that place of desperation, just desperation, you will do things that will cause your business to take longer. You think it is speeding things up until afterwards you realize that actually slowed things down. Some of you have been going around in circles for ages. I did this. This is why I know. I would speed things up. Oh, let's try this other thing. Let's try this other thing. That's going to definitely make it go faster. And then I come back to what I was originally doing in the first place after another few months have gone by of me trying this and trying that and trying the other. And then you realize actually the strategy you had at the beginning was sufficient. Stick with it. Stop flying around the place trying to try everything and try this and try the other. No. Stay the course with the strategy until it works. This whole instant gratification, if it didn't work within 21 days, that means I must try something else. That must mean that it's not working for me. Again, this is where faith walk comes in. There are times when if you're really still and sit with the divine, there's a deep knowing inside of you that this strategy that I have in place is exactly what I need to keep doing until it works. And it becomes a faith walk because there are going to be times in the physical reality it will look like nothing is shifting. And so then because of instant gratification, I want everything to work. And you listen to that marketer over there saying, you know what, I did this one thing and then I made 7 figures after investing 10 quid. Basically, I invested $10, I got 7 figures out of it. And so you're like, why is that not happening for me? You don't realize how much that person went through to get to that 7 figures because all they're telling you is $10 to 7 figures. And you're thinking, it should happen to me that way. And so that instant gratification and then you trying to jump around, trying to get there faster, get there faster, get there faster, get there faster. Listen, it's like planting a seed in the ground. All the pulling it out and looking at it, come on, grow, come on, grow, come on. It's just killing it. You plant that seed in the ground, you just water it. You have to have faith that even when nothing is happening above the soil, above the ground, that in the soil, it's growing. It's dying first, and then it's emerging, and that's when the manifestation will come. Business is the same. It's like a baby. There's a certain period of time that must go through. And if you keep messing around, trying this, trying that, blah, 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 you could kill the baby, literally, or you kill the seed. No. Every day. Communicate, capture, close. That's it. Every day, communicate, capture, close. Have a strategy in place. If you don't know what strategy to put in place, work with a coach. Come and work with me. Let's put a strategy in place for you so you know that as long as I do this consistently, by this time next year, I'll be making 6 figures. By this time, whatever. And then hold your freaking ground because you will be tempted. Oh, well, that didn't work. I tried that for a few days there. No sales. Oh, well, that must mean try something else. Try something else. You keep doing that. So it's like you're always starting from scratch. So you think you're speeding things up, but actually what you're doing is slowing everything down. Slowing everything down. So stop with the instant gratification. Some things take time, and that's okay. Yours is to hold your ground and keep doing what you know to do consistently, both the internal work and the external work, until it works. You do not take no for an answer. You demand that life shifts to accommodate your desires. And yeah, it will feel, and this is where the faith walk comes in. You hold your freaking ground instead of all the time. Come on now. And then mistake number 7, stop being, this is so good. That's always thank you. You're very, very welcome, my love. Stop being a lone wolf. Stop being a lone wolf. I know it sounds heroic. I was self-made millionaire and this and that and the other. Nobody's a self-made anything. Okay? Yes, in the grand scheme of things, they are the face of whatever was built, but it was people supported them. Okay? Somebody somewhere, even if they read a book, somebody's idea, or saw something that prompted them or something, there's always people supporting. Now you can decide, I'm just going to be the lone wolf, do my own thing, I'm all heroic and on my own type thing. But the thing is, you don't know when you're because you have a box that you live within. You don't know what's outside of that box. To you, especially if you're an ambitious spiritual person who you have stretched the box beyond the people around you, but you're still within a box. That's the thing. So unless you have an objective of somebody kind of looking in at what's going on with you, you won't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. For most of us, we're trained to be employees, and most of your actions are coming from that place. But you don't know what you don't know. Okay? You don't know when you're doing it. Or maybe there's religion mixed in there that is making you act in certain ways, but you don't know. Because that's all you know. And in fact, if anything, you're doing better than people around you. You're living a little bit different from the people around you. You've always been slightly the odd one out. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing what you need to do to 10x your profits. Because just because you stretched yourself a little bit doesn't necessarily mean that that's all that is required of you. But because for me, one of the biggest things I got out of working with coaches was, yes, I got great ideas. I still listen to some stuff over and over and over and over again. And each time I listen to it, and this is what I say to clients, repetition, because I've been listening to some training material for 10 years, over and over. And each time I listen to it, something different comes through. Whereas people listen to say, oh, I didn't get anything from that, and that's it. Oh, that coach didn't help me. So for me, the thing I got from coaches, one, was the material that I could listen to 20 million times over a period of time, because each time I'm at a different place, hear something different. But also, it was the exposure to a different way of thinking and seeing things. I remember one of my coaches took me to a private island. I actually went with my daughter for a retreat with her. And it was just this regular person, like me, suddenly hiring a boat, going off to a private island. For me, this girl who'd come from a third world country, really, I mean, I was born in the UK, but still, I'd spent quite a big portion of my life in a third world country. I was doing okay. But then for me to go and work with this coach and then suddenly be exposed to what else is possible. That, on the dark days, it was like, if she can do it, if she can do this, there's absolutely no reason why I can't. We're all one with the divine, right? And that, for me, changed everything. So even if I only got that ability to kind of get out of my box, that changed everything for me. Because on the dark days, if you do not have that ability to see outside of your current box, there'll be you thinking, this is the extent of it anyway. What's the point of carrying on? And for me, because I knew there was more outside my box, I could not stop. It's like there's something in the Bible, there's these parables in the Bible about the pearl of great price, and there's all different examples of when you see something. When you see something, there's no going back. You sell everything to get that thing that you saw that you really desperately want. And that is what working with coaches did for me. So yeah, you can do the lone wolf thing. Absolutely. You can get to a certain level of success. But when you want to break through, for real, you're going to need more than just you. Because there's some things you cannot see until you kind of almost see it through somebody else's eyes. Until somebody else says, hey, honey, do you realize that there's a different way of looking at things? But until somebody shows you that, even the divine, and that to me is how the divine works, as in he will guide you, or the divine, they, gender neutral, they will guide you to something for you to open your eyes, but the choice will always be yours. Because most people's first reaction to something beyond them is, oh, it's a scam, it's not possible, that they're just trying to get my money from me. And because for most of us in this community, you have been hurt and you've been betrayed. And so there's a tendency to, but all of that, it keeps you from your biggest potential. It keeps you from what is possible for you. When you're doing the lone wolf thing, yeah, you're worried that you'll be scammed. You're worried that you're not allowed to make money living out your purpose, and because that's what you've been programmed and trained to believe. You might not even want to admit that you don't know what to do, because you've always been the one that has the answers. Always. You are the one that has it. Everybody comes to you. So you start allowing shame to determine your actions. You start allowing shame that you're not yet making the money that you thought you should be making, and you don't want to admit it to anyone because you're supposed to be the one that knows everything. Or you start allowing guilt to make you dig deeper and do even more silly things. And it still gets you nowhere. If you could have done it alone, you already would have. Okay? Let's just be honest. If you could have done it alone, you already would have. It's that simple. It doesn't matter what you did in the past. If it's not working to get you where you want to go right now, then you need help. Or I guess you can keep doing the lone wolf and struggling along alone. Do you really want that? So if you're done with the struggling on your own, trying to make it all work on your own and all that stuff, and trying to be this, I don't know, whatever it is that you have in your mind, then if you're done with all of that, then a mentor is required for accountability, to help you see your blind spots, to help you stay on path, to stop you from deceiving yourself when you think, well, I've done the best that I know how, I've tried everything and nothing works for me, and all of that stuff that we say to ourselves to actually keep us stuck. So if you're done with that, then again, I say to you, let's have a conversation, you and I. It's the prophetic, intuitive mentoring session. That's where it begins. Have a session with me. 50 minutes. You come with your issue. With you and I and the divine, we'll have a conversation. We'll figure out what is your next steps. It's not just me talking at you, although yes, because of the things that I've gone through, yes, that I can support you. But it's also us with the divine, as I say. It is an intuitive session as well, that we'll be sitting with the divine and getting ideas from that too. I deliver them to you in very practical ways. I'm not about, somebody was asking if I use cards or something. I don't use any of that stuff. It's just simply me hearing what the divine is saying and saying it to you. Basically, ultimately, and for the most part, you will kind of know that what I'm saying is what you kind of knew in your heart already, but it's almost like a confirmation, or I'll say it and then it'll be like the blinkers finally come off your eyes. And it's like, oh yeah, I kind of knew that. But now that I've heard it, it's confirmation. So if you're ready for that transformation, okay, get a session with me. Now, the session prices keep going up, depending on how, as soon as I get to a certain number of people have them, we go up to the next price level. As soon as I get to a certain number of people have them, you go up to the next price level, okay? So the link, as I say, is around this video. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, anywhere that allows me to put the link. If it's not there, then it's in my bio, okay? So if you're anywhere else watching this, it's in my bio, okay? And it's called the Prophetic Intuitive Mentoring Session, or Private Session with Rosemary. Go get your spot. It's very, very, very accessible right now. And it'll be such a pleasure to speak with you if you're really, really, really ready to get clear. Because as I said, sometimes you may not want to hear what I'm saying, but you may not want to hear it, but at least you might want to have it in your mind. Some people get really upset. Although have I had people that have gotten really well, not somebody that's actually paid for a session with me. It's usually if I ever do free sessions, then people get annoyed if I'm telling them the truth, because it's not truth that they want to hear ultimately, and they haven't paid for it anyway. So, except maybe with their time, but yeah, people put a value on something they actually put a monetary value on. But anyway, if you're ready to find out more or to get clear on your next steps or whatever your issue might be, go and have a look at the page. Well, the link is in, as I say, the link is in my bio, or the link is around the video. Book a session in. It'll be such fun to have a conversation with you, just you and I, one-on-one, 50 minutes. Let's handle whatever is immediately top of mind for you, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, or whether it's just what we talked about today. It's time. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to leave this for today's session. Have a call in 3 minutes, so need to go do that. Much amazing love, guys. Share this with somebody else that you feel needs to hear it, and go get your session. It'd be so fun to speak with you. Until the next time, much amazing love. Bye. See you, Kathy.